Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to another Carversation show where I sit down in my car and have a conversation with you guys about topics that are on my mind. I actually have a dash cam in my car now, so I can make these, but I need to get a working micro SD card for it because the one that's in there that came with it doesn't work. So next month we'll have a nice Rare and Carversation. The schedule I have this month, I kind of needed to put this out the day that I'm filming it, but I got a lot of stuff to talk about this month. It's not just one subject, it's a multi-subject conversation once again for your eye holes. And I'm going to lead in with the first two smaller subjects and then get to the bigger multifaceted subject of the month. And the first two subjects kind of revolve around similar stuff. Two very popular websites changing their terms of service. YouTube and Twitch. Twitch has been in a lot of heat recently for a lot of their DMCA bullshit. If you notice, when I've been streaming recently, it's been on YouTube and not on Twitch. Even though I have a Twitch, I have friends that use Twitch. I'd like to use the platform of Twitch, but right now, until they get a lot of their kinks ironed out, I'm kind of hesitant to use the platform. You know, I know that it initially started as sort of like a cracking down on copywritten music, but I've heard stories and I've seen stuff of people getting flagged for stuff that isn't even that, and I'm not trying to risk it for the biscuit for that in that regard, because I don't even have that big of a reach on Twitch right now. You know, and I'd rather wait until a lot of that kind of mulls over before I use the platform again. But my big issue with Twitch and YouTube by proxy as well, the copyright music stuff that's been going on. A lot of people are saying that, like, it's to crack down on the music and people using music in their streams, which, especially when it comes to streaming, music can be kind of a vibe. Like, I've had friends that have streamed for years that have music going on. They have like a dedicated part of their HUD that is about music, you know, what they're vibing to, what they're playing while they're playing music. It's a huge component to playing games. And in the case of Twitch, and especially in the case of YouTube as well, they're both owned by multi-billion-dollar corporations, Google and Amazon, who have, well, Google not much anymore because I don't think Google Play is a thing anymore, but Amazon especially still has Amazon Music. It's a huge aspect of Amazon Prime. Artists release shit exclusively through Amazon Music sometimes. Like, it's a viable music platform. And when you're owned by a company that also owns a platform to that scale, you'd think they could negotiate a deal or a contract with the music companies that you use on your streaming platform to be okay with that. Because listening to music in a stream is completely different than, like, somebody ripping the files and putting them up on YouTube and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot more about the vibe. You know, commentary still gets played over the music. It's not even like we're just gonna have, and even in the case of listening parties, it's different because it's in the context of commentary. It's in the context of review. You know, it's in the context of discussion of music. And at least in my buddy John's listening party case, he doesn't even stream the whole song. He streams like bits of the song and then talks about it, whether it's a song that he's familiar with or not. He's providing, you know, criticism, you know, as a caveat of fair use, my guy, you know. And it's frustrating to me to see this still be an issue like this, you know, because it's not, people equate it to the same thing as listening to it on your own with a nice pair of headphones or just earbuds, you know, and getting your own, me basically listening to it for free, when that's not at all the case. And labels are just being money-hungry, grubby, greedy little fools. And I hope, again, I'd like to see a world where that's changed, but I doubt it will be, because music labels, Rhea is a greedy bitch. And then YouTube recently changed its recently changed its terms of service. And I've seen bigger creators speak about this, and one of the big components they're kind of talking about are the ad rollouts and running ads on smaller channels and not paying those smaller channels. And while I understand the ad thing, because a lot of creators consciously put ads in particular spots in videos, whether it be because of the pace of the writing that they're doing. You know, I see creators that write in a way that gives themselves an ad break, and YouTube's new policy where they'll just sprinkle ads wherever, that's frustrating. And as a viewer, you know, I don't get annoyed with ads all that much. You know, I actually think it's kind of interesting to see what the algorithm wants to advertise to me. You know, what YouTube's ad system deems trackable through me. You know, it seems sellable to me. I've had ads in Spanish before, not just on my account, but on my girlfriend's account. You know, I'm always curious to see what YouTube wants to throw my way. But I get it from a creator side why it could be frustrating that YouTube is kind of fucking with your own pacing for just to make a few more bucks on the minute. You know, it's dumb. As far as the other half of that, where it talks about putting ads on smaller content creators' videos and not paying them, as a small creator, as a long-standing small creator at that, I feel like I take less issue with this than other small creators might. Bit of background on the channel. I don't make money on YouTube. Never have. I've never had ad revenue run on my channel at all. Any ads you may see are purely from like copyright tags and them saying they'll put ads on the video. You know, potentially. I never make a dime on anything. I have a Patreon now. I've had for a couple years, and I shout out to those peeps that hop on there. My dudes are always keeping me feeling accomplished. But like, I don't make money on the platform, and I could understand why YouTube, in as large of a volume of output that gets put on there, why they tried to also make a couple bucks off of people that can't technically make money on the platform as it is. Because even before this, they had a rollout of their change of their partner program, where they made it to where they almost turned it into the Twitch platform, where you had to make a certain amount of viewers, get a certain amount of viewers, have a certain number of watch time, you know, for a certain number of time before you could even qualify for the partner program. I was originally grandfathered in, but even that's not standing anymore. They removed my partner program status because I wasn't fucking making views, baby. Now, do I still feel like it's like a slap in the face to once be a part of a program and then to just be kicked out because I'm not making any money for them, or I'm not like gaining the numbers they want? Absolutely, because I've been doing this shit for years, for a long fucking time, and I mean, it sucks. It's unfortunate to see, you know, but I still, you know, this is it. This is all I got as far as the platform is considered, so I gotta roll with it. I still love doing what I do. I get why they might want to make a couple bucks, if that, off of whatever money I can make them being a small-time creator. No, it is what it is, as far as that's considered. I'm still thankful that I have the platform I have. I'm thankful that I have the audience that I have. And I'm just glad you guys want to watch my goofy ass make whatever the fuck I want. Before I get into the last subject, I actually have one other topic I forgot I was going to talk about, because the last subject is so multifaceted. But HBO Max recently announced that all of their movies through 2021 are going to be debuting in theaters and on streaming. And I think that that's a bold choice. And it's one that's gotten them in trouble, because Legendary, one of the companies that makes movies through Warner, was like, wait a minute, we aren't okay with this at all. And they've been kind of drafting up some legal papers in response to it. But Warner is moving their shit to HBO in tandem with theater releases. That's insane news. And Chris Stuckman talked about this in a video that I actually really, really enjoy, and I'll link in the description. But I'll get this out of the way. I have not watched nearly as many movies this year as I have last year or in years prior. Because, this may sound like a really selfish thing to say, I need to take a big boy sippy of my drink. I got dry throat. I love movies. I don't know if that's been evident by how I talk about movies, but I really adore the filmmaking process. I'm a big fan of how the writing goes, cinematography, direction, performances, the story that's told. I love every aspect of filmmaking. I think it's incredible. And I also, by proxy, really love the theater experience. It's something that I take solace in, either by myself or with a group of people. You know, I've had great theater experiences alone, with partners, with friends. Like, it's just a great time. And not being able to do that really took a lot of the wind out of my movie seeing sales. You know, I like watching movies on streaming, and I don't hate the prospect of solely streaming movies. I like Netflix movies. You know, I like Hulu films. I like Amazon Originals. I like that idea. I like it. You know, but something just felt missing from my life in that regard this year. And you'll hear me say this a couple other times in the coming months, because I have a lot of movie stuff I'm going to be talking about. But I don't know, man. I miss the movie theater. I miss going to see the movies. I miss getting a big old bucket of popcorn and just chilling for a couple of hours in a dark, cold room, you know, with either a large or small crowd of people. You know, I've seen movies with rapturous fans. You know, I've seen the Star Wars movies. I've seen movies on opening night that me and 7 other people have seen. You know, it's something about that experience is just magical to me. It still is, even, you know, at 28 years old. And not being able to experience that just fucking gutted me, man. But, again, even though theaters are starting to be open and filmmakers have been really stingy about putting their movies on streaming, I don't think that's the safe thing to do. I feel like if you really want to turn a profit on something you spent millions of dollars on, you should make it available in any capacity, you know? You should put that shit on streaming, because people, more than likely, a lot of your target demo isn't gonna go to the theater to see it, because it's not safe to. You know, when Christopher Nolan was getting up in arms about Tenet only being in theaters, that frustrated me, because, like, I get it. Like I just said, I get it. But it's not safe to be in large crowds right now. So don't do it, you know? And, like, it's like going to a concert. I also really miss concerts. I miss going to shows. You know, I miss standing with a bunch of people in a room just vibing to the same music, getting into the concert experience. I miss that as well. But I see more movies in a given year than I do go to concerts. So, like, that impact has hit me harder. And what would normally be my catch-up time has been my sole movie-going experience this year. My movie viewing experience out of new flicks that have come out. And it sucks, man. Because I like going to the movies. So be expecting a different year-end list video this year with movies. But yeah, I don't know, man. I miss the movies, but I don't think that this is a bad move on Warner's part, because they have a lot of big projects that they've had to keep pushing back in hopes that this pandemic would sort of dissolve into a new normalcy, and it hasn't yet. And I'm sure they're losing money. Disney is as well. And I understand that prospect. And I'll probably be getting HBO Max so that I can see a lot of these movies that I probably would not want to go to the theater and see in fear of being in a large, crowded room. You know, some movies I wouldn't mind going to see in the theaters. Like Dune, I live in a city where I don't think Dune's a big property. So, like, I don't care about not seeing Dune in theaters. Or about I don't fear seeing Dune in theaters, because I don't think that many people are going to sit down and watch Dune. You know, it's not science fiction in like a Star Wars, Star Trek kind of way. It's a niche science fiction film made by a director that does it well. And I also say this because I saw Blade Runner 2049 in theaters, and there was like me and 8 other motherfuckers in that theater, and it was great. I sat down with a bowl of popcorn for almost 3 hours. It was a great time. It was a great ass time. I love seeing Blade Runner 2049 in theaters, and I expect Dune to give me similar feelings. You know, yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool. I definitely probably will be getting HBO Max, if not just to see some of the movies that are already going to be rolling out in this process, like Wonder Woman. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. You know, Chris Stuckman made a lot of other good points, and again, I kind of highly recommend you go watch his video on this subject, because he talks a lot about theater business and the potential for theaters to make more money because of this decision, and I like that, you know. But the last subject, it's a multifaceted one that didn't start off that way, and it's about Nintendo, because of course it is. Nintendo recently came under fire because they shut down a Melee tournament using an online service that I think Evan is the one that Evan uses. They were going to have a tournament using that fan-made software, and they sent him a cease and desist. They said, don't do that. And the internet justifiably got up in rage. Of course, Nintendo's well within their legal right to do this, but why would you do that? You know, it's a game that's like almost 20 years old at this point, that you don't have any support for financially. So why take it down? I doubt they're gonna port it to the Switch, because like when they did another Metroid 2 remake cease and desist, it in hindsight made sense because they were making their own Metroid 2 remake for the 3DS. Still think it was shitty, because another Metroid 2 remake was nothing like Samus Returns, from what I understand. So yeah, but this makes no sense. You know, I doubt they're gonna port Melee to the Switch, because Ultimate is still it's still going through development. They're still adding stuff to the game for at least another year and a half. So like, why pull support for this fan community that hasn't done anything wrong to you, that is just trying to find their own slice of happiness amidst this pandemic? You know what I mean? It sucks, and it's shitty. You know, I've seen Evan talk about it a lot. You know, he's had free Melee on his Twitter handle since this whole thing started, and it's understandable, because like, the Melee community is huge, and it's not like it pulls away from their Ultimate scene, if much at all. You know, Evan doesn't play Ultimate much because he's busy with Melee, but like, at the end of the day, that was always going to be the case. Even when Smash 4 was a thing, he mostly played Melee. I'm sure when Brawl was out, he was still mostly playing Melee after he didn't really like Brawl as much, because Melee is just a very special thing to him. It's a special thing to everybody that's that into Melee, and I don't see why Nintendo would, you know, do this to a community that, again, is doing nothing to them. They're not losing them money. They're just trying to, again, thrive in what's going on. And then recently, in tandem with that, Nintendo canceled their Splatoon, matchups, because a lot of the people involved, the players, were a part of the free Melee movement. And that's some bullshit, Nintendo. What the fuck, man? Again, at this point, Melee is only losing you money because you are stepping in and canceling money-making opportunities for you because you're petty about this Melee shit. And it's stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Again, every right to do so, but it's a stupid decision. You know, there was a trend when I was on the Analog Input podcast, when that was the thing with Dusty and Eric. There was like a meme in the podcast where Eric would shit talk Nintendo's business decisions. And, I mean, like, yeah, I don't support Nintendo's business decisions right now. It's fucking stupid. Just because you have this petty disgust for something that your fans are up in arms about, you shouldn't be this mad about that. You know? It's really dumb. It's really, really dumb. And I don't agree with Nintendo choosing to do this purely out of some petty bullshit. And then the last notch against Nintendo right now is their whole Etikon stuff. You know, these fans of Etika, who is a YouTuber, who is really into Nintendo, he killed himself. He committed suicide. Mental health issues, stuff like that. And there was a fan-made Joy-Con skin that was made recently called Edicon, and they had, this cool design, and they were just a fan-made Joy-Con slip. They weren't even like modded Joy-Cons. They were just Joy-Con slips. You still had to own a pair of Joy-Cons to use these. You still had to pay Nintendo money to use this product. And Nintendo smacked them with a cease and desist. I think ultimately because the word Joy-Con is on the Edicons. It says Joy-Con Boys. And that's utter BS. Because again, you need to own the product that these go on, that you make, in order to use them. It's stupid. And like the proceeds for the Edicons were going to like mental health donation, mental health, funded charities, pro mental health stuff. And none of that matters because Nintendo doesn't want to morally have a good standing in a situation like this. It's dumb. Nintendo is making some really shitty decisions right now, and I don't know why. They've been on a really good streak lately, in my opinion, with the games that they're making, the stuff that they're doing. And it's not just starting now. This year's been a weird year for Nintendo with the whole Mario 35 limited release. Fire Emblem has a limited release right now. The first Fire Emblem, it's getting its first ever English translation, and it's also a limited release for some fucking reason. They're making some questionable decisions, but these aren't just questionable in like a why would you do this sort of way. They're questionable in a you're doing something really shitty, Nintendo, why sort of way. And it's upsetting because I love Nintendo. My phone filled up, so it stopped recording, but you guys know I love this thing. I love the Switch, and I like that Nintendo's making good games on it. But they're making some real shitty decisions, and I have issues with them. That's why I wanted to make this conversation, at least that, a big part of the conversation today. Well, what do you think of all the stuff I've talked about? What do you think of Twitch? What do you think of YouTube? What do you think of HBO Max? What do you think of Nintendo? Let me know in those comments down below. If you liked this meteor conversation, give it a like. Closing out the year, something a little more, something a little beefy, some beefy boy content. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general notary content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join their ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community, it's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here. I have been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.